In the Middle East, a region steeped in history and strategic importance, the complex and often volatile rivalry between Israel and Iran stands as a defining force, a persistent undercurrent shaping the region's destiny. This isn't merely a disagreement, it's a multifaceted contest for influence and dominance. This rivalry profoundly shapes the region's politics and security landscape, influencing alliances, fueling conflicts, and determining the balance of power. The implications of this ongoing struggle extend far beyond the immediate borders of these two nations. This isn't just a local feud, it's a deeply entrenched and multifaceted conflict with far-reaching consequences. It's a clash of ideologies and ambitions, a fundamental disagreement on the region's future and the role each nation should play in it. This ideological chasm fuels mistrust and animosity, with Israel viewing Iran's nuclear ambitions as an existential threat, fearing the potential for a devastating attack or a shift in the regional power balance, and Iran seeing Israel as a Western outpost, a symbol of foreign interference, and a barrier to its regional aspirations. This perception further intensifies the conflict. Their conflict plays out in shadow wars, a clandestine struggle fought through intelligence operations, sabotage, and other deniable actions. Proxy battles, where each nation supports opposing sides in regional conflicts, extending their influence and weakening their adversaries without direct confrontation. And cyber attacks, a modern battleground where digital infrastructure and sensitive information are targeted, disrupting services and sowing discord, drawing in other nations and deepening regional divides as countries align themselves with either Israel or Iran, further complicating the geopolitical landscape. Every incident, no matter how small it may seem initially, a sabotage operation targeting critical infrastructure, a drone strike against a strategic asset, a targeted assassination of a key figure, raises fears of escalation, pushing the region closer to a full-blown conflict with potentially catastrophic consequences. The stakes are global. This rivalry isn't confined to the Middle East. Its repercussions are felt worldwide. The Middle East is the world's energy heartland, the source of a significant portion of the global oil supply, and any disruption here, whether through attacks on oil facilities or blockades of crucial shipping lanes, can send shockwaves through international markets, creating economic instability and uncertainty. Oil prices, a key indicator of global economic health, supply chains, the intricate network that delivers goods around the world, and even household budgets, the financial planning of families around the globe in distant countries, are directly affected by this tension, highlighting the interconnectedness of the modern world. In today's interconnected world, where economies are intertwined and events in one region can quickly ripple across the globe, a single event in the Middle East, fueled by the rivalry between Israel and Iran, can impact economies and lives everywhere, demonstrating the far-reaching consequences of this regional conflict. This story is about how a regional rivalry, a conflict between two powerful nations in a strategically vital region, casts a long economic shadow across the globe, impacting markets, trade, and the financial well-being of people in distant lands. The Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway, a critical passage connecting the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, holds immense strategic importance on the global stage. Its geographical location makes it a vital artery for the world's energy supply. It is the world's most critical energy choke point. It serves as the primary route for maritime traffic carrying crude oil from the Middle East to countries around the globe. The sheer volume of oil that transits through this strait daily underscores its significance to the global economy. 1/5 of global oil passes through its narrow waters. This constant flow of tankers highlights the region's crucial role in meeting the world's energy demands. Any impediment to this flow can have far-reaching consequences. Iran's proximity gives it leverage. Its geographical position along the northern coast of the strait allows it to exert considerable influence over the waterway. This proximity is a key factor in the geopolitical dynamics of the region. Any threat to close the strait instantly rattles global markets. The mere suggestion of a disruption can trigger panic among investors and businesses worldwide, reflecting the market's sensitivity to potential energy supply shocks. Even the hint of conflict here can spike oil prices, sending shockwaves through the global economy. Businesses and consumers alike feel the pinch as transportation costs increase and inflation rises, and trigger international anxiety. Governments around the world closely monitor the situation, fearing the potential for economic instability and political fallout. The US and allies keep warships nearby, maintaining a constant presence in the region to ensure freedom of navigation and deter potential threats. This naval presence is a visible demonstration of their commitment to safeguarding the flow of oil, to keep this artery open, protecting the vital flow of energy resources that fuel the global economy. The security of this waterway is paramount to maintaining stability in the international energy market. But the risk never disappears. Geopolitical tensions, regional conflicts, and the threat of terrorism constantly loom, posing a persistent challenge to the stability of the strait. An Israeli-Iranian clash could see mines strategically placed to disrupt shipping lanes and cripple maritime traffic. The use of naval mines could have a devastating impact on the flow of oil. Drone attacks, targeting oil tankers and critical infrastructure, further escalating tensions and threatening the security of the strait. These unmanned aerial vehicles pose a significant challenge to maritime security, or blockades, effectively shutting down the strait and halting the flow of oil to global markets. A naval blockade would have catastrophic consequences for the world economy, threatening the flow of oil. Any disruption, whether through military action or political instability, could have severe repercussions for the global economy. Insurance costs for shipping soar, as insurers factor in the increased risk of operating in a volatile and dangerous environment. These higher costs are ultimately passed on to consumers, and the world's economic health hangs in the balance. The stability of the Strait of Hormuz is inextricably linked to the well-being of the global economy. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just a place on the map, it's a critical juncture in the global energy supply chain, a focal point of geopolitical tensions, and a barometer of the world's economic health. It's a symbol of global vulnerability. The world's dependence on this narrow waterway highlights the interconnectedness of the global economy and the potential for disruption. Any disruption here sends economic ripples worldwide, impacting everything from transportation costs to consumer prices. The Strait of Hormuz serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of the global economy and the importance of maintaining stability in this critical region. When Israel-Iran tensions rise, the world holds its breath. These aren't just regional disputes, they're global economic flashpoints. The intricate web of international relations means that any spark in this area can ignite a firestorm that quickly spreads far beyond the immediate conflict zone. We're talking about potential disruptions to trade, shifts in political alliances, and most immediately, impacts on the energy sector. Oil prices are the first to react, almost instantaneously. The markets are incredibly sensitive to any hint of instability in the Middle East, and the price of crude becomes a kind of real-time geopolitical barometer. Markets move on fear. Anticipation of what happened often has a greater impact than actual events, at least initially. Traders and investors are constantly assessing risk, and the Middle East is perpetually high on their list of potential trouble spots. Just a threat or a hostile exchange can send prices soaring. The mere possibility of disruption to oil supplies is enough to trigger a buying frenzy, as everyone tries to secure their position and hedge against potential losses. This is the risk premium in action, and it can add significantly to the cost of oil, even before any actual damage is done. Traders rush to secure oil futures, locking in prices for delivery months down the line. This is a crucial mechanism for managing risk in the oil market, but it also amplifies the impact of geopolitical tensions. Anticipating shortages, and prices jump before a single barrel is lost. The futures market acts as a kind of early warning system, reflecting the collective expectations of traders about future supply and demand. A direct clash could push Brent crude up by 10% or more in a day. That's a massive swing, and it would have ripple effects throughout the global economy, impacting everything from transportation costs to manufacturing expenses. If the strait is threatened, the narrow waterway through which a significant portion of the world's oil supply passes, the spike becomes a sustained crisis, fueling global inflation. The cost of goods and services rises across the board, putting pressure on consumers and businesses alike. Conversely, news of de-escalation can bring prices down, offering some relief to consumers and businesses. But the risk premium never fully disappears. The memory of past crises lingers, and traders remain wary of future disruptions. The oil market is a barometer for Middle East tensions, always on edge, constantly reacting to the latest developments and rumors. Every headline from the region is felt at the pump, as gasoline prices fluctuate in response to geopolitical events thousands of miles away. and in the global economy, impacting everything from inflation rates to economic growth projections. The first domino is always oil, the most immediate and visible consequence of Middle East instability. Falling fast, with global consequences that extend far beyond the energy sector, impacting trade, investment, and overall economic stability. Rising oil prices don't just hit energy companies, they ripple through every sector. Higher fuel costs mean more expensive transportation, manufacturing, and food production. Countries that import oil from Europe to Asia see trade deficits widen and currencies weaken. Governments may subsidize fuel, straining budgets and forcing cuts elsewhere. Even oil-producing nations feel the pinch as inflation spreads. Food, travel, and everyday goods all get pricier, squeezing consumers worldwide. Industries from agriculture to tourism suffer and inflation erodes purchasing power. No economy is insulated, higher oil prices touch everyone, everywhere. What starts in the Middle East ends up in wallets around the world. For most people, the Israel-Iran conflict hits home at the gas station. Rising oil prices quickly translate to higher costs for gasoline, groceries, and daily essentials. Families must stretch budgets, cutting back on non-essentials as fuel and food eat up more income. Inflation spreads, reducing purchasing power and slowing economic growth. Lower-income households are hit hardest, forced to make tough choices between basic needs. Businesses feel the pinch as consumers spend less, leading to slower sales and potential job cuts. The pain isn't equal. Inequality grows as the cost of living rises. Governments face pressure to intervene, complicating the economic picture. A distant conflict becomes a local crisis for millions of households. Beyond oil, a Middle East conflict disrupts global trade routes and supply chains. The Suez Canal and Strait of Hormuz are vital arteries for shipping between Asia, Europe, and beyond. Threats or attacks force shipping companies to reroute, raising costs and causing delays. Insurance premiums skyrocket and just-in-time manufacturing grinds to a halt. Delays ripple through industries. Factories pause, shelves empty, and costs rise. Even a single incident can snarl global logistics, affecting businesses and consumers worldwide. The world's supply chains are only as strong as the peace in the Middle East. Financial markets hate uncertainty, and Israel-Iran tensions create plenty of it. Stock markets drop as investors flee to safe havens like gold and US bonds. Airlines and travel companies are hit hardest, but the sell-off is broad. Algorithmic trading amplifies panic, turning small drops into global sell-offs. Retirement accounts and investments shrink, fueling anxiety and caution. Businesses delay investments and central banks may raise rates to fight inflation. The market's reaction is a warning. Economic pain often arrives before the conflict even escalates. Uncertainty in the Middle East means volatility everywhere. Rising tensions force businesses to shift from growth to survival mode. Investments are delayed, hiring freezes set in, and contingency plans are activated. Companies scramble for alternative suppliers, stockpile inventory, and absorb higher costs. Borrowing becomes more expensive, and profit margins shrink. Smaller firms may not survive, leading to layoffs and bankruptcies. The ripple effect hits workers worldwide. Job security falters, and economic growth slows. A conflict thousands of miles away can threaten livelihoods everywhere. The global economy is only as stable as its most volatile region. The Israel-Iran rivalry is a stark lesson in global interconnectedness. What starts as a regional dispute quickly becomes a worldwide economic event. Oil prices spike, supply chains falter, and financial markets tremble. Consumers pay more, businesses struggle, and jobs are lost far from the conflict zone. Every link in the global economy feels the strain. Stability in the Middle East is essential for prosperity everywhere. Diplomacy and de-escalation aren't just foreign policy, they're economic necessities. In our world, local conflicts have global consequences.